do these Sunday nights, but we mixed it up tonight because we are going to talk about 2020 goals, how to set them, and whatever other questions come up. So let's drop that intro one time. What's going on? It's Ruslan with KingsDreamENT.com. This channel exists to encourage, empower, inspire you to live out God's dream for your life. And that time of year is coming, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm not talking about Christmas. I'm not talking about New Year's Eve. I'm talking about the new year, where everybody wants to have the new year, the new you, 2020 vision, everything being clear and focused. This is going to be your destiny. All the cliche things that we hear said around the new year. And I wanted to give you guys some tips on just some basic goal setting stuff in terms of what I've seen to be successful in my life in terms of being a creative, an entrepreneur, a business person. And I'll go over some basic stuff with you guys, give you guys a recap on my personal year, and then kind of give you guys some more abstract approaches. Hoping the YouTube live stream looks clean. If you're watching this on the YouTube, give me a thumbs up and let me know where you're watching this from. We're going to bring in some of the Patreon call pretty soon here to get their opinion on their goals and things like that for 2020. It looks like we got a pretty good upload speed right now. Everything seems to be working smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and let this, oh shoot, I just went full screen on myself. Goodness gracious, what's happening? Okay, cool. I'm good. And my goal for this year had one simple goal. I have different categories of goal, but the big idea for me was that I wanted this to be a year of double. If you walk into my studio, there's a little sign that says double, and I meditated on a lot of the verses about having a double portion, and I wanted to be a year of doubling my income. This time last year, we've been doing okay financially, even though we run a six-figure boutique label. As an entrepreneur, after taxes, after paying people, 6 figures isn't really that much. And so I wanted to double that, and I wanted to really be aggressive with it, and I wanted to double the amount of content I was putting out, double the amount of music I was putting out, double the amount of people I was touching and impacting, double the amount of work I was doing with the hope of doubling my income and doubling my impact. And so that was like my big goal. And that is something that I haven't done my taxes yet, but I think we came pretty close to hitting. And I set up different quadrants and whatever. But so I wanted to open up real quick with something that I've learned. Many of you guys have seen, and this isn't my idea, but I wanted to open up with this. This is something called SMART goals. Okay, SMART goals. I'm gonna pull it up on the screen so you guys can see it. SMART goals, very simple for you guys who are watching this on the YouTube and for you guys who are in the Zoom chat. Hopefully you guys can all see it. A SMART goal is a goal, not a dream, not a fantasy, not a vision, but a goal that is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Your goal is direct, detailed, and meaningful. Your goal is measurable. Your goal is quantifiable to track progress or success. Your goal is attainable. Your goal is realistic, and you have the tools and or resources to attain it. Okay, your goal is relevant. Your goal aligns with your company vision, and your goal is time-based. It has a deadline. I've been having a lot of conversations with people about what their goals are for 2020, and a lot of people don't have very specific goals. I break them down into physical, mental, spiritual, financial, career, right? And so I'll ask people like, hey, what are your 2020 goals? And people will be like, oh, I just want to do more cardio. What does that mean? Is that specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it relevant? Is it time-based? You just want to do more cardio? I just want to eat better. I just want to eat better. What does that mean? How do you want to eat better? You know what I mean? What does that actually mean, right? And so when we start getting into the nitty gritty of these things, they have to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-based, right? I have set some goals this year, and I've set some goals and made and attained them, and set some goals and failed. One of my personal fitness goals, for example, is I wanted to be at 10% or less body fat. I wanted to basically be at an elite level with my fitness, right? 10% body fat. It's kind of a number that you hear thrown out a lot. And I got as low as 11, and I have not hit that 10%. Now, I got 2 weeks left. I'm planning an end of year fitness photo shoot. And we're going to see if I was able to hit my 10% goal, or if I could actually even look the way 10% look, right? That 10% look, which is really more about the aesthetic. It's not about a percentage. It's more about the aesthetic. So we're going to see. And so I had to, my goal was specific. It's detailed, 10%. That's a specific amount. It is quantifiable. I go to a place and quantify and measure my fitness goal. I measure this goal to see where I'm at, and I fluctuated from as low as 11 back up to 15. I'm probably at around 12%, 13%. There's still 2 weeks left in the year. We're going to see if I get it. Your goal is realistic, and you have the tools and or resources to attain it. This is the tough part. A lot of us are cheapskates. A lot of us don't want to pay for coaching. We don't want to pay for help. We don't want to pay for the proper tools to get to our goals. So you guys know what I did with my 10% body fat goal? 4 weeks ago, I hired a personal trainer, my buddy Rich, who's been training me for a while. Boom, hired him, and he's helping me. He's coaching me. He's giving me the accountability to make sure I'm eating right, to make sure there's a degree of intensity in my workout, to make sure there's information that I don't have, that I can't just look up on YouTube to hit that goal of my fitness, right? And then your goal aligns with company vision. And my vision, one of the things I want, King's Dream, is the vision of that is to encourage, empower, inspire people to live God's dream for your life. How do we live God's dream? We live God's dream by living God's ways, right? You want God's purpose, you want God's goodness, you want God's vision for your life. You got to do things God's ways. And if we live God's way, we will always be in God's will. So living God's way, to me, for me personally, is to live at a fitness elite level. I want to be at a fitness level where I'm not just doing good with my fitness. I'm a motivation with my fitness. I'm an inspiration that I've done something that few people are able to do, and I can show that to other people. And so that is aligned with my company vision, and it's time-based. I'm either going to hit this 10% body fat goal, or I'm not going to hit this 10% body fat goal. I'm either going to double my income, or I'm not going to double my income. There's a deadline for the year. And they don't have to be a year. It could be monthly. All in all, with goal setting, guys, people overestimate how much they could do in a year and underestimate how much they can do in a decade. You could do a lot with your life in a decade. I could definitely get the 10% body fat in a decade. In a year, it's a stretch. It's a lot. It's a lot to go from 18 months ago being like 23, 24% body fat to trying to get 10% body fat. Fitness, to me, just so you guys know, why are we talking about fitness? It's just a metaphor. It's a metaphor for life. They say you are more statistically likely to be a millionaire than you are to have a six-pack and be shredded and fit. Statistically speaking, there's more millionaires than people that are fit and shredded and have six-packs. So for me, if I can be fit, then I could hit all the other areas of my life. So that is just an example of how I set my goals. They're specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant, they're time-based, and I pick a couple areas: physical, mental, right? I went to therapy this year. I worked on my mental health, my emotional well-being, spiritual, right? Financial, and career. Those are kind of like the five quadrants that I have in my life, right? And then I have like a theme for the year. So that is something I want you guys to talk about. Now let me back up. I do goals in the sense that I set goals on the variables that I can control. The things that I can control. I can control whether I get up every morning, get my butt to the gym. I can control whether I create videos for YouTube and I make content and I make music. I can control what I put in my mouth and what I eat. I can control the variables I can control. I set goals around the things that I can control my output. I don't set goals with abstract notions of things I cannot control. Those are called dreams and visions. So I start with the dream and a vision for the year. 2019 is a year of double. I wanted to double my progress. I wanted to double my output. I wanted to double my videos, my music. I wanted to double all that stuff. And then I was hoping that there would be a doubling of my income. I necessarily can't control how many people listen and consume my music. I can't control how many people watch my videos. I can't necessarily directly control how much money I make, but I can control my effort and my input. So the big idea for those of you guys that are watching this is control your effort, control the input that you have, control the variables you can control, and then you have to leave the rest up to God. You have to sow the seed, you have to tend to the land, you have to add the fertilizer. Sometimes life throws us manure. We got to flip that and make that into fertilizer, right? But we have to depend on God to send the rain, right? We have to depend on God to ultimately make it grow, right? So we control the variables that we can control, and we believe and we trust God that He will control the rest. So as I'm looking at 2020, as I'm looking at my fitness goals, my financial goals, my career goals, there are certain platforms I would like to be on. They're going to go unnamed right now. There's certain people I would like to interview on my platform, certain people I want to collaborate with, right? And I'm going to start speaking those things. Oh man, I would really like to be on this YouTube channel. I would really like to grow my profile. I would really like to get to 100,000 subscribers in 2020. Those are things that those are more dreams. They're visions. I'm casting vision, and I'm declaring, and I'm meditating, and I'm visualizing the things that I want to see happen. But guess what? I have to go do the work, and I have to put in the work to get my channel from 15,000 subscribers to 100,000 subscribers. And I may not get to 100,000 subscribers. I may get to 50,000 or 20,000 or whatever. I can't control the exact growth, but I can control the input, and God ultimately controls the output. So it's a tug and it's a pull, but the big idea is, guys, control the things you can control. Control the variables that you can control. Control what you're eating. Control what you're spending. Control what you're watching. Control what time you're going to bed. What time you're waking up. If you're getting up and being fit. If you're doing those, you can control those things. You can't necessarily control on if your body submits and gets you to 12% body fat or 10% body. I can't necessarily directly control that, but I can hire help. I can hire coaches to get me as close as I can, who've gone there. They've gone and they've seen that goal succeeded, and they can come back and give me some game and give me some practical things. And so I think just writing down a goal, speaking a goal, casting that vision over your life is a dream, a vision, right? Casting that is very powerful. And then I think we break that down into micro goals. We break that down into, now how many videos is that? Okay, so I said I wanted to double the video. So my goal for the year was like 250 videos, and I got really, really close to that. You know what I'm saying? I haven't counted, but I got really, really close to that. And so that's the big idea. And so I'm going to bring in some people from the Patreon community. The Patreon community, if you don't know what it is, the most talented online community in the world, with some of those talented people. And I want to hear from some of them, just to kind of hear what their thoughts are on goals, how they do goals, have they accomplished their goals. What are they hoping and dreaming for 2020? Was this helpful? So let me know who wants to chime in. You guys can use your little hand feature. Those of you guys that are in YouTube, if you guys got questions, feel free to ask. And yeah, let me know. Who can we get to chime in? All right, sweet. Don't jump all at once. I'm just going to start calling you guys like it's class and this is a discussion. Let's bring Shannon in. All right, hang tight, Shannon. You are still muted.
Is that because it's ladies first?
Ladies first. Let's go. All right. So what do you think? I know you a little bit. We've hung out in person a couple of times. You are very much so a proclaiming, believing, and not being afraid to go after the goals and the visions and the dreams that God has placed on your heart. Where are you at with goals? What do you think about this idea of setting goals and having dreams and visions and then making them really practical and really tangible?
Actually, that's what I've been working on the last 2 weeks or so. I've been having some real good conversations with people.
Okay.
On different aspects, like promoters, more people that do shows that's more ministry driven. I'm just trying to figure out where I fit in all of that. Yeah, but you just threw me for a loop with the SMART goals, and I was looking at what I wrote down. And I was like, "Ooh, they not right. They not measurable. They not time based." I was like, "Ooh, so I wrote all that down. And I need to fix them.
So we got to tighten them up.
Got to tighten them up for sure. Yeah, and I was thinking like, okay, I got almost 500 followers in a matter of 5 months.
Okay, that's great.
I'd like to get to 1,000 total, so to add 500 more in the next. I'm gonna give myself the whole year.
Okay, so you want to double your social media reach.
Right, so I want to double the followers on social media within the next year.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now you have kind of a blueprint on how to set some goals while at the same time maintaining that vision and that dream that you have casted over the year.
Right. You asking for specific ones or just
no? Not if you want to. You don't have to share if you don't want to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's one of them. The other one is just to have. I really want to solidify what my mission is.
Okay.
I got challenged. I'm not gonna say by who because everybody may know who this person is, but I got challenged to really hone in on what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
And how I want to go about it. And I have like all these big ideas, but I haven't really made them SMART goals in a sense. So that's something that I'm working on.
I love it. That's awesome.
You said don't just say eat healthier, and that's what I wrote. So I was like, oh.
Yeah. Like if somebody says they want to get healthy and they say, I am willing to commit to being in a slight caloric deficit every day so that I can lose body fat and put on muscle, right? Now that's a very specific thing. Now you have to figure out what is your basal metabolic rate, how much calories can you consume every day without gaining weight, and how do you do a slight cut there, and what foods can you eat to feel more satiated and all that kind of stuff. And so that's like I'm doing that kind of stuff for like Canvas and a couple other guys. I'm putting together like little meal plans and stuff like that for a handful of people. So yeah, so that's good.
Don't you do? You just like the ultimate hustler. Look, I need to get in on that. Look, I need to get in on that. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Okay.
I've tried a couple diets and
we don't diet. Not
diets, life changes, and I don't know about all that.
Yes.
I haven't found what works for me yet. So that's one. I need to figure that part out.
Awesome.
Then another thing once I've solidified what my goals are for the shows, I would like to work on a promo package just for what I do to try to obtain at least 2 partners / sponsors for the year.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's what I have so far.
That's good. That's a smart, measurable goal. 2 sponsors for your events this year.
Yes.
Very cool. I love it. Okay, I'm gonna bring in Canvas. I know he probably loves this stuff. He is an entrepreneur himself, and so
yes, sir.
Let's bring him in. Okay, so what do you have you heard of SMART goals before?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not, but I really appreciate the idea. And so I'll bring in a quick example that I'm reminded of, and then I'll give you like 1 or 2 quick goals. So I think one thing I love is when I was on the whole Dave Ramsey wave.
Yep.
People always asked him, "Why don't you pay off the highest interest rate debt first?"
Yep.
Like that's mathematically correct.
Right.
And he snaps back with a funny line: "If we were doing math, we wouldn't have credit card debt."
Yep.
Whereas if you break it down from smallest to largest, and you get that small $100 debt knocked off, there's actually like a reward function in your brain that actually motivates you to continue going. It's like the same way if you got to lose 100 pounds, you start by losing 5 or 10, and then that starts to activate that reward center. So breaking it down that way in the terms of smaller goals is a lot more helpful. And on my end, I've got kind of two main ones. There's one on my business side, on the business that I run, and there's a second on the music side. So the first thing that I would love to do is I would love to gross 6 figures in my business in 2020.
Let's go.
I started the year taking in less than $1,000 a month. In the middle of the year, it was between 1 and 2. Towards later, it was around 2 or 3. And last month I took in over $4,000.
Let's go.
So if I can double that, if I can take in a little over 8, each month, that'll put me where I need to go. I've literally broken it down by how much I need to gross per day. And I need to gross a little around $273 a day.
Okay.
To clear 6 figures in gross, which is very doable. With some very strategic planning.
Yeah.
And on the other side of things, the music side, I was originally going to say, as far as Spotify goes, I would like to increase my monthly listeners. And my goal originally, it's probably a reach, but I would love to shoot at 100,000 and see how close to that I can get. Because 100,000 is kind of where I feel like that's a really comfortable place, listener wise, obviously from, where some people are at, they want to go to 1 million or, but for me, someone who has less than 500 or less than 200,
yeah.
To me, if I shoot for 100,000 and I end up at 50, I'm not going to complain about that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So those are the 2 big ones for me. And then obviously, I would love to, as far as fitness, I don't have a specific like body fat goal.
Yeah.
I want to figure out what that goal is and then reach it. But I do know I want to be healthier than I am right now. I want to be, I want to have more energy. I want to, I want to have less body fat. I want to sleep better and have more mental clarity. So I want to figure out those specifics, so that I can hit them. And that's pretty much where I'm at.
Yeah. And here's the great part that you mentioned, Canvas, which I loved. You said, if I shoot for 100,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, but I get to 50 or I get to 40, like that's still great. If you shoot for 100,000, grossing 100,000 in your business, but you get to 60 or 70, like you're still winning. Complain. Yeah, and it's and to me it's the same thing with the body fat. Like I was like, I'm shooting for 10% body fat, but if I hit 12 and I look amazing, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with 12. You know what I'm saying? So I think Grant Cardone, who I don't agree with on a lot of his philosophies, but it's like the 10x rule, right? Like shoot for 10 times what your goal is and know that it's going to take you 10 times longer. And so for me, I want to build a 7-figure business. So to build a 7-figure business, I have to gross around $80K a month. Well, to gross $80K a month, that sounds outlandish. How do I do that? Well, I break that down into 4 or 5 revenue streams. If I can get sync licensing, merchandising, shows, Patreon, and DistroKid money, all to make between 12 and 15,000. 5 revenue streams, 15,000 each, then I can get to that number. But I had to break that down across 5 different revenue streams and say, well, where's the most opportunity right now? Oh, if I get into Facebook ads, I can grow this outlier merch line, and I could have that be an automated thing, and I could potentially grow that to 12,000. I know people right now, rappers right now, my contemporaries, who are running $12,000 merch lines, right? And so like that's how I started breaking it down. And again, say I don't get to $1 million. Say it takes me 10 years to get to $1 million business. That's okay, but I probably can get to 250, 300K, you know what I'm saying, within the next year. And so I think you're totally right in terms of how to think about these things, man. So thank you for chiming in, man. Let's see who else could we get in on this before we go offline. And those of you guys that are in the YouTube, feel free to join us on a Patreon. We'd love to bring some of you guys in and chop it up. Let's see. Let's get my man Conscience in. He has his hand raised. What's up, bro?
All right, did that work?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Cool, man. So first goal is to hit 10K on IG for the swipe up feature. Been dying to have that sucker, and I think it would help me out a lot with some of my marketing ideas for it. Almost already there. So that was kind of a goal on the back half of last year. So I'm looking to clean that up for the first quarter.
Yeah, man.
I want to keep a weekly routine I have a routine built out on an online platform called Trello. So I have a weekly schedule for what places online I go and engage with community. A lot of that's through hashtagging. A lot of that's through popular blogs and YouTube and stuff like that. And so I have a routine for like how much time I spend looking at comments and engaging at what content's relevant and how people feel about other people's music.
Yep.
So I want to keep that because it's been so hard to like consistently interact. I get like high highs and low lows with that based off of my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to find a way to have a flexibility with that where I don't just fall off and get super unmotivated. I want to refine my knowledge. We spoke a little bit about this, but I'd like to refine my knowledge of what brand identity is,
Yep.
and then reassess if my brand is clear and compelling, you know, by definition of
Yes.
what brand identity is.
Yes.
And then lastly, I want to get in the collab space more and just learn how to function in it with different scenarios and opportunities, because I don't have enough experience in that space, and I'd like to know just how to navigate it well.
I love it. I love it. Is there a theme, a big theme for the year, like a dream theme, or like a big, like it's not quantifiable, it's not measurable, but this year for you, 2020 is going to be a year of?
Oh, like a concrete goal for like
not a concrete goal, an abstract vision for the year.
Dang, no, I haven't really thought through it like that, to be honest.
See, you sound like you're on the opposite extreme of Shannon. Shannon is like, I'm gonna do these things and now you're more very tactical and very like linear. So I think the challenge for you is gonna be like, what's that big, like
vision.
Jump into your Joel Osteen bag for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like dream big, like and say, okay, what is the thing? And maybe that thing isn't the thing that happens this year, but it's the thing that happens this next decade.
Yeah, the closest thing I've got to that, bro, is I had a really strong way that I was going to grow my Instagram following, and I broke it down day by day and figured out a way that I could legitimately get about 40,000-50,000 followers in a year.
Okay.
And once I started getting all my other goals coming into play with like the branding, the mixing, mastering, I started expanding my relationships, which gave me other opportunities. It started like the time that I actually legitimately set out to do started getting squandered.
Yep.
So that was like the biggest goal I ever set. I was like, I can get to this legitimately by the end of the year. Well, in a year's time.
Yep.
I figured that out around September.
Yep.
But that's probably the biggest like clear set, like long shot I've had as far as goals.
I love it. That's good. That's good. Word up, man. Anybody else want to chime in before we go back offline, resume the rest of our chat? I think we're just about there. Let's see. I think there's some good stuff, man. I think there's some really good stuff. I think it's interesting how we're all on a different spectrum in terms of what our different goals are, how we approach goals, how we approach dreams and visions and all that kind of stuff. And there is no absolute one way to do it, but I think we should be using this time of it's a new year, it's a new decade, to take take the symbolism and use the symbolism for our benefit to get and move towards those things that we're hoping to see happen in our lives, man. So hopefully that encourages you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comment section on YouTube. What are your goals? And we are now going to go offline and continue this conversation for a little bit and then pack this a little further, man. So thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, all that good stuff. All right.